G'day everyone, so Geoff McDonald here from the Brisbane Opal Museum. I'm honoured to have a good friend and opal supplier, Pat McGrath, from, and a little bit about my history with Pat. I have bought lots of parcels from Pat. So a parcel is where you get just a container of rough. You go to a gem show, and then the wheeling and dealing begins. But Pat's always been a really fair person, and I've got some really amazing specimens from from Pat, which I added into the collection. So what I really just wanted to do with Pat is, he's been around for a long time. The name of his business was Chasing Opal, and I'd really just like to find out some of his story about how he got into the game, and just some of the good experiences, and also maybe also figuring out what's the opal buying etiquette. That was something I was thinking about, because there's a bit of what do you do if you buy opal? Like, what's the rules, the best way of doing it? Don't, as far as haggling, and what's the fair way of doing it, and the honest way of doing it, and that'd be great. So, Pat, thanks for letting me be you to be the first interviewer for me. Pat, tell us how you first began. How did you get into the opal, and what were you doing before?
Well, I was a builder.
Builder, yeah.
Yes, and we had a caravan park out at Allara, out from Toowoomba, between Toowoomba and Warwick.
Okay.
And I wanted to sell it. It wasn't for me, and the wife and what I call a sensible son was in buying stuff for the little kiosk we had, and me and the mad daughter, we were there by ourselves, and some people come through buying properties, half cash, half opal.
Yeah.
So I did the deal. There was a lot of money involved, subject to Merle signing, my wife, and eventually she did give in and signed, and I didn't know whether opals grew like grapes or whether they grew like potatoes. Yeah. But I soon got the bug. And
from that first parcel, or was it when you first saw it and then thought?
Well, we had all these opals when the deal went through, and we had to try and sell them because we had no money left. So to learn about it, we went to Lightning Ridge, and I got the bug, and we mined on and off for 8 years at Lightning Ridge and never got a stone.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty typical, quite a typical kind of story.
It was, there was one nice stone and I smashed it with the jackhammer. But in the meantime, I traded away and sold me opal and bought opal, and it learnt the other side of opal, buying and selling. So it wasn't just a mining episode in the end. And eventually we started doing gem shows, and we got to know people, and we're still friends with them after 40 years. And unfortunately, with the virus around now, the gem shows are cancelled, so we don't see them anymore. But it's been a great long experience.
So how would you, let's say you don't have any opal. Let's say you don't have any opal, but you've got some money and you're going to go, okay, you've got some gem shows coming up. What would you do? Would you you go to your little book and just phone up people, or how would you get like a parcel?
Well, now over the
these
years,
days,
we've made that many friends with miners, and we mined ourselves in different areas. They get a parcel and they ring me and say, well, Paddy, we've got a parcel, if you're out this way or if we're going through Toowoomba, are you interested in? And I have been, and fortunately I came across you that got the Opal Museum that's been a good buyer from us, and some of the stuff that I didn't think was real crash hot, and you with your experience and your cutting ability, you've turned them into magnificent specimens and that, and
thanks.
We've formed that friendship over the years, and we have other people that come from overseas that we've known for years, and they pop in every now and then and say we're looking for this or looking for that. And
So let's say let's say you've travelled out to Erromango and you bought a parcel. And then, but you've also heard that maybe there's an opal mine and there might be a miner interested in selling, but you've never been to the property. How would you go? How do you approach that situation? Like, to go and buy an opal, because we know that some opal miners are a little bit concerned. You know, they don't want people going on their property and stealing, you know, their opal, so they're a little bit worried. But have you done that before and gone to buy opal? And how was that?
Yes, well, you don't go there unannounced.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's usually...
So never just turn up?
Never.
Okay.
No, because they're wary. You could be the tax man, you could be the mining department, you could be anybody like that.
Yeah.
But usually a fella like you would say, well, Joe Blow at Eromanga, Paddy's got some. If you're out that way, go and have a look at him. Or you'll buy off another miner and he'll say, look, my mate's got some for sale.
Yeah, okay.
Or there's a parcel in at Quilpie, tell him I sent you.
Yeah, okay.
And usually when one miner sends somebody on to another miner, they've got to be fair dinkum because they don't sell the duds out there, you know.
Yeah, because you want people who understand prices.
Yes.
You know, the last thing an opal miner wants is that he's got a good price here. He knows it. He just doesn't want people kind of going stuffing him around. I guess, you know, he knows what it's worth. Yes, you can negotiate a wee bit, but you can negotiate if you know the opal price of opal, because they know that it's fair and genuine. So, you know, opal miners, they've worked hard, and a lot of them don't have a lot of money, so they still want to try and get a good price for it, a fair price.
Absolutely.
You know, they don't want to rip you off either, because it's a reputation thing as well. That's kind of important, and they want the repeat business as well. It's a small community in a way.
Well, the miners can usually go to other miners.
Yeah.
And ask them what's this parcel worth.
Yeah.
And for the likes, if I had a very good top end parcel, which I normally don't have, I would come to a fellow like you and say to him, Geoff,
what do you think?
You know the market today, you're dealing in it, what do you think? And it's all about asking for help, you know, because you can be in mining a long time and you still learn all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where this is something we were talking about before. Where do you think the industry is going? Over the past 5 years, you're talking about how it's a bit harder. Excuse the noise of the lawnmower, but we'll push through. So, yeah, how things have changed is for you buying opal compared to, say, 10 years ago.
Well, 10 years ago, it was pretty closed market. There's so many more younger people now coming into the opal industry, and it's getting sent all over the world. And opal in Australia is probably the best opal in the world. And it's growing that other people can come in. You don't need a fortune now to go mining. If you go into excavators and big machinery and all that, then you need a lot of money. But a young person can go and they can take out a claim at Lightning Ridge, and with a jackhammer and a winch like they used to do in the old days, you can start off small, you can have your family there with you, and you get to speak to the other miners. There's always someone mining near you, and I never found a miner that wouldn't help you. If you wanted advice or you didn't know whether the roof was safe. They'd always be quite willing. And particularly the last 12 months with the virus around, there's so many people that lost their jobs and they want to invest, say, maybe 10 or 20,000. They've gone in and started doing this from home. And if you go out to Lightning Ridge now, it's very hard to get a vacant claim that's any good, because the young fellas and people that want to get into the game, they're out there and they're taking them up.
Yeah, great.
And of course the big miners, they spend millions.
We're just finishing up, but just talk to me a little bit about Duck Creek. You were thinking about getting a claim there?
Well, we had a claim there.
You had a claim there,
yes,
Okay.
The biggest snag was it's 150 kilometres from the nearest town, which is Quilpie, and it's 75 kilometres on a dirt road.
It's a long way.
The dirt road's quite good. But it's a lot. There's no facilities out there, no phone coverage, no electricity, nothing like that. You can go a few kilometres to a bore and get some water to have a bath and boil it and drink it. But because of our age and you get medical problems and that, it was just too far, because if it rained you would never get out. You'd never get to a doctor or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you had a serious heart attack, well, you're usually gone before you get there anyhow.
yeah. And there's no one else at Duck Creek, is there?
About 4 or 5 people
Okay.
that don't mine full time. They just
Yep.
use it as a breakaway from urban life, and
Yep.
yeah,
But good opal.
good opal, lovely opal. Yeah,
Nice, dark, rich kind of ironstone, isn't it?
yes, and there's no excavators or bulldozers or anything allowed at Duck Creek. It's all hand mining,
Yep.
and it's a 50 by 50 metre claim. And the opals are normally only down around 20 foot,
Yep.
which is quite easy to get down to that level. You can't even have a drill now and drill a big hole to go down. You've got to dig it down by hand, so that turns a lot of people
Yep.
off.
Yep.
But you get a couple of mates that perhaps used to go fishing every year and spend 3 or 4 weeks out there. If they went out to Duck Creek, they'd put the hole down themselves.
Yeah.
The digging's not that bad with a
Yeah.
couple of jackhammers,
Yeah.
and only cost you $300 a year to keep the claim.
Yeah. And
So-
which is good.
And it's a lifestyle if they want to get away from the hustle and bustle.
Yeah. So just finishing up, where do you see the opal industry in 10 years' time?
It'll still going ahead.
Still going?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's got to get better. As I say, it's easier now to get a mine than it was years ago.
Yeah.
If you're in a small way, and you don't have to go into a big way.
Okay.
And some of the opal that has been left by the old timers, because they couldn't go down very deep, now they can go down much deeper, and they've got modern equipment, and they're still pulling out a lot of beautiful opal,
Okay.
and it's in demand all around the world.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Pat. Well, thanks for
Thanks
the video.
very much.
Appreciate
Geoff.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the opal that